And here he comes. The Summoners War Superman is here. What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again. We got ourselves the next episode of Educate and Dominate, that one-on-one interview series where we take some of the top names in the game and get their insights so we can bring your game to the next level. My next guest is a man that needs no introduction. He's coming on board for the third time, a member of the Proc Ready gaming community, Guardian 3 player, Forosnai. What is going on, my man?
Good morning. Good morning. Good evening. Whatever time it is where you're at. It's a happy day. It's sunshiny. It's fun in Summoner's War land, and I get to hang out with you two peoples again, and I'm happy and excited.
Yes, you are back once again. It's been such a long time, and Lord knows that you have just kind of shaking your head at the 3 to 4 message I gave you like a week for the last 8 months saying like, hey, what's going on, Foro? How you doing? Just waiting for you to come back. It's great seeing you.
All the hashtags.
Yes.
Hashtag Foro returns. Hashtag where's Foro? The old lady friend thought those were very cute. Yeah. She was, oh, hashtag we miss Foro. It's so cute.
Right. No, it's. I mean, that's the beauty about this game is, you know, you play it, you have fun with it, but at the end of the day, we all have real lives, and we got to find that balance. You did, and now you've made it available for you to go ahead and. I think we got a little sneak peek there. Hello.
Yeah, she's hanging out.
There you go. All right. Cameo appearance. There you go. The one and only Mrs. Superman of Summoner's War. That's what it is. Gosh, where do we begin? So it's been so long since we have gone underway with regards to talking with you on different aspects. For those that have followed the previous episodes, when I first brought on Foro, he really brought his A game when it comes to arena, top end arena, and different combinations that people use. We were so focused on different things when it comes to like primary set runes and whatnot. We didn't really understand the fact that you can it's not about what you got but what you make of what you got, and you really showcased a wide variety of different builds, utilizing some sets that we really didn't even think about, the shield sets, the nemesis set. I mean, the double nemesis wheel, oh my goodness, it was blowing up. It was crazy. That was it. So I have to start out with the arena. I mean, it's been so long. What is going on with your arena setup and your offense as a G3 player? What have you been using lately?
Well, it starts with what you're seeing on defense. Okay, like really, my arena teams that I use primarily are built around what do I need to destroy?
Right.
Currently for my arena, I'm pretty much using some sort of combination of like Galleon cleave with Tiana, or I'm using a team to outspeed them and cleave them with Lucian, or I'm using some sort of setup with double wheel Lucians, or I'm using some sort of setup with like double bombers, because that's pretty much what I'm using or what's required right now in order to cleave out most of the defenses that people put up, and so I think really it starts with, you have to look at, okay, what are the defenses I'm seeing, where are their weak points, and how am I going to go about cleaving them, with a low time investment, or to get the most fun out of it. Right. Sometimes it's like okay, I'm gonna build this team to try to take apart this arena defense that I see like that's kind of common, but it has some like fun random element built into it. So like, sure, there's like a 5% chance I'm gonna lose, but there's a 95% chance they're gonna fall over in a couple seconds, and that's what makes it fun. Yeah. Like reaching that compromise. like okay, I could build this team, and there's a chance that like this might happen. There's a really small chance, but I'm okay with that because it's fun.
Yeah,
it gives me like a uh-oh moment. like when the fight starts, I know that, oh no, if Orion puts that debuff on this one guy, it's over.
Right. It's
And so arena really, a lot of times the high-end arena turns into like, you know, more along the lines of like, what are you going to get when you open that box sort of thing, and trying to plan that box to where you know you're going to open it and 98% of the time you're going to get a cookie.
Yeah, that's it. I am in that same level, but I think I might be a little bit more of a gambler. I don't know. Have anybody seen my arena videos? I've been really focused on the Guild War aspect, so my runes for arena setups have been kind of lackluster or whatever. So lately it's been, for me to get my arena rings cleared, I've been face rolling my devolution comps into like 2 fire-based, unit teams. And
yeah, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it at all.
Come on,
you
man.
See, okay, so I primarily have like 3 types of teams that I use 98% of like most fights during the week.
Right.
Okay, and one of them is Tiana, Galleon, Poseidon, right? And then plus like a 4th. And then the 4th just depends on like, okay, what elements they have, right? Why does that work? Well, because there's a lot of Nemesis healers on defense now, and that gives you the opportunity to armor break them, reduce their attack bars, and do good damage so that you avoid the Nemesis setups and cleave them, right? Or you use like Bernard making double Lucian. If they don't have any sort of Nemesis built in, but they got a lot of like, stall type tactics involved, right? Or you just go for the setup where you're trying to outspeed them. Like they have a squishy team, but you can outspeed them, and you take like a speed leader. In my case, I use Chiwu, and then your Bernard and your Lucian and Megan. Quite simply, the basic arena is, okay, are they going to have like a Nemesis stall tactic involved? And do I need to use this team? Or do they not have like a kickback Nemesis tactic involved? And can I just use a standard cleave team, whether it's like Lucian or something without a Poseidon, like a standard cleave team? Or do I need to just outspeed them and get the first hit in to try to win?
Yeah,
that's pretty much like the basic philosophy with a lot of fun details built in.
Gotcha.
Until Rush Hour comes along, and then things change considerably.
Right, and it's funny that you mentioned the Rush Hour or whatnot. As people have come to know, regardless of what defenses they find, throughout the week, the Rush Hour defense that are put at the end of the last 2 hours or whatnot are dramatically different. So,
yeah.
My question for you is, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen defensively, and how have you been able to go about countering them?
The Rush Hour is different considerably nowadays than it was 8 months ago, and it's the evolution of people understanding that just merely stalling people and not having zero chance to pull off a decent defense success, but just causing a long fight is a superb tactic to improving your rank at the end of the week, if your objective is to put in that team and then use your wings at the last minute.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are doing that nowadays, and it wasn't too hard to discover that, hey, if I put in Nemesis healers, Ariel is like probably one of the most effective that you see out there, because he can be paired with the beast Camilla. If I put in Nemesis healers with a mix of elements and throw in like a tanky Camilla in there or a tanky Rena, then it's no matter how hard you cut it, it's often really hard to cleave. Even if you have really awesome win units like Teshar and stuff like that, it's going to be a time sink. Or if you take a squishy Teshar against it, you have a chance of them pulling off a win. So I guess the evolution is a lot of people have figured out, I can put Nemesis Ariel, Rena, double tank Milla on my defense, and it's like auto lock for blocking people farming me right near the close.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like, yeah, rush hour tactics are a lot of like, put a Nemesis healer in there with like a tank Milla or a hybrid Milla or maybe Arena or two and other stall type monsters. Not a good defense for the weak really because they're easy to kill. I mean any newbie can kill them. I bomb them most of the time. Or like I take the Dark Samurai. They're really easy to kill, so they're not necessarily like good defenses for the weak. But if you just want to make people pass on you right near the close of Arena, it gets the job done. And that's the difference between Arena now and Arena 8 months ago.
Right. And so, as I'm passing through some of these monsters here, one of the ones that you tested out along with some of the others, right when it kind of hit, was that fire unit, Freya here, the fire Sylphid here. Since everything has been changing right now, do you still see anybody using them, or do you still find it valuable in your setups here?
I tried really hard to use her in some like stall type comps, and I think she's still usable in stall type comps.
Right.
But I don't have the monsters that are required to make her usable in stall type comps. Like if you're going to use her in a stall defense, like on arena defense, you're really going to have to pair her with those other ones that we discussed, like your your tank Millas and Renas and Aerials and stuff like that. So yeah, she's still usable. I see people use her because basically what happens is you put a bunch of like Renas or Chloe or Camilla or Ariel, and then you just throw her in there, and you know that no matter what, they're going to attack you. And even if they armor break, like if their objective is to cleave you with their Teshar, you put her in there, like you don't even need to stick runes on her. You can just put a 5-star Freya in your defense, and her objective is somebody's going to try to armor break and cleave your Rena stall setup. They kill her, and she's 100% interrupt effect. So yeah, I definitely think she's usable. But me personally, she's a dungeon monster for me, and she is really useful in dungeon. She is super integral to some very special farm teams, and that's why I have her rune that way, because she's used in two very important teams, and she's also, I break her out every Hall of Heroes to farm pretty much, or most Hall of Heroes. She's a great Hall of Heroes type monster.
That's crazy. I would have never imagined like trying to test her out in like Hall of Heroes or whatnot. That's pretty darn cool. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. I'm looking at what else. We got some new stuff here. Oh, we did get a new unit. I might have missed this one. I think you summed it offline. You got the Villagel here?
Yeah, just very recently.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, no matter how you cut it, he's an awesome unit in terms of the skill set. My picture for him is I think he's going to be useful to slot in for maybe real-time arena. Like if it gets released anywhere kind of near how it was tested, I'm really lacking solid cleanse, super effective immunity type monsters that I can throw in there for real-time arena. And so as soon as I popped him, I knew I would use him, and he's put Devilmon in him and put Violent Will set on him, because even though he's not crucial and he's not necessary for anything that I really do right now, I know I'm going to end up going to him hardcore if real-time arena happens.
Right, definitely. And so as I'm looking through some of these units out there, I've seen a couple of unique runes, some new runes that you've been farming it up here. We got some fight runes. I think I saw an enhanced set around here. Let's get into that. Like, I mean, these new PvP runes, there was a lot of people out there, including myself, that, when the Homunculus came out, they'd be like, oh, great, the Homunculus, let's go ahead and farm it. But, the majority of the endgame players, in my humble opinion, the majority of the endgame players really kind of focused on getting the materials to, get a head start on those runes, as some of these runes are definitely going to be, beneficial out there. What's your take on the new PvP runes? What do you think about them?
Fight runes, it doesn't take a genius to kind of think of some really effective ways to use fight runes. Like that right there is a good example, right? A lot of people use Megan paired with like Bernards and stuff for your cleave type setups, right? Well, those fight runes stack, and so Megan, you don't really need her on Swift, right? Because you need her fast, but you don't necessarily need her on Swift if you're going to use her with Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
So like at some point, a lot of people are going to just end up developing speed leader, Bernard, Lucian, Megan, and then having their speed leader and Megan and Bernard have as many fight offsets as possible because they all stack, and then
Mm-hmm.
it gives you the opportunity to take a really fast team to outspeed everybody, but at the same time really be able to boost up Lucian's attack power to just like auto cleave people.
Right.
And that right there is the start of it. That's what I got so far. One fight offset on Megan, but we're going to be working on more.
Right.
They also help out considerably in dungeons where you have like 5 monsters on your team,
Mm-hmm.
like the Rift Beast. Like take a look at the Fire Monkey. Is Fire Monkey in there anywhere?
You got it.
He is double fight blade because the dungeon teams that I use him in, it is far more effective to give 5 other units 14% attack power than it is to give him the rage bonus set, right? Or like the violent bonus set.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tested it now for like 4 or 5 days of solid farming, and it works. And so another benefit of the fight set is if you have situations or like dungeon teams where that your auto is going to be boosted in effectiveness by giving everyone attack power across the board versus one person a fatal or a violent or a rage set, then you like a double or a triple fight setup. It's pretty can be useful,
Yeah. It's funny because when I first came out, and I know that some other YouTubers and streamers commented about it with regards to the homunculus and getting these runes and whatnot. Some of us were so fixated on the actual unit of homunculus, we didn't come to realize that until you get it all maxed out and see the true potential, it's not going to be too beneficial for you. And at the end of the day, what does it come down to? What can essentially help your composition and help you improve? And I think that with the majority of us players that are at the mid to late game, late game to end game, those runes, these different combinations are going to be really, really strong, and it's cool to see you already kind of test it out or whatnot. I honestly summoned the homunculus, and I just summoned it to basically name him my son. and just get him on the side. He hasn't even hit like max for 35. Like I'm just farming materials now to get some runes.
It's a great use,
Yeah.
And like that's the cool thing about this content and about this game is like, yeah, it's out there, but you don't necessarily need it to have fun. It's there's fun stuff to mess around with no matter what your level that you're at.
Right.
And it just so happens that me, it's fun stuff to play with for me, so I'm going to play with it.
Oh yeah. So,
but it's not necessary or game breaking. It's nothing that that it's not like a requirement or anything like that. It's just more fun stuff.
Yeah. Now here's a crazy question for you. I think a lot of people kind of thought about this, but maybe they haven't talked about it too much. When we make a change with regards to new different types of content for us, like when they made the change from Dragons B10 to Necropolis B10, they made a rune switch, right? Different runes got switched around, so that Necro has some of those runes, and now Dragon has some of those runes. So it's kind of like all evened out or whatnot. Focusing on some of the end game rooms in the hardest dungeon, Necropolis, respectively. With this particular change, we had a collective amount of runes that we were able to farm in the R5 dungeon, Richter Rose dungeon. Now, since we can craft a heck of a lot more runes, there wasn't any change out there, as far as moving some runes around. Now we just have a bigger pool of runes that we have to farm in it, and it's a little bit harder. Honestly, I am in complete agreement with Comtos. A lot of people mean that. What do you think? What do you like about that?
Well, this is a topic that really needs to be brought up, and I think maybe the developer needs to take note of this, and more people need to put their voice out there on social channels and let ComToUS know about this. Here's the kicker, okay? And this is really, really important. all these new runes were put in the game to add extra strategy and add fun for players. And that's cool.
Right.
But in the process of putting these new runes in, ChildishPlays has totally broken the loot tables for people at the lower end of the game and people at the higher end of the game. Like, for instance, 4 or 5 months ago, a player at the mid-level could get into Rift Raid and get power-ups for their, violent, swift, fatal, rage, and at a pretty consistent basis and see improvement in their game and have fun with it. Okay? With the release of these new runes, the biggest problem is they didn't fix the Rift Raid team up loot tables, and so now it takes literally twice as long to get the materials you need to improve your game because there's like twice as many random rune drops in there, right? And something needs to be done about it. They need to. The easiest thing is make 2 Rift of Raid beasts, like for 2 team ups. Okay, one for the old style runes, and maybe one for the new style runes, or at least break them up in half, so that you can decide. The impact of they added all those little crafting materials into like the scenarios, and they added some extra rune power ups. Rune craftables in dungeons, right? So when you go and you do like your basic mid-level player farming of your scenarios and dragons and giants and stuff, you're getting a lot more stuff that can be used to craft. But what if you're a lower level player and mana is in short supply and you need those cell runes and you need those unknown scrolls for fodder a lot more than you need all these craft materials that turn out to be a mana sink and don't necessarily improve your game, right? And something needs to be done about it. Is the new content awesome? Yes, I love it. Is it skewed towards the high end players? Most certainly. And ChildishPlays needs to take a look at that. Realize that they risk the opportunity of alienating the mid to low game players with how they've broken the loot tables, and they need to get in there and make some changes and fix it.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing too, because a lot of people are like, "Oh man, Childish just got slammed," because 4.0 totally went against that. My thought process was, even though it is right, when they put out this content, it did seem like it was definitely pushed towards the mid to late game. It kind of just goes to show, but for what a lot of us YouTubers and streamers have been preaching about, and again, this is my opinion on it. When we're thinking about Rift of Worlds, we're thinking about end game already. So if the beginning players see this, argument, this debate that we're kind of discussing and feel like, yes, they are kind of getting hosed. I do feel for you. I do feel like it's going to make it harder. But in all reality, when we really think about it, the value of what we can generate in these R1, R2, R2, R3, it's obviously they could be a little bit of a bonus, but for the most part, they're going to go on runes that are not going to assist us down the road. Because if we're struggling in the R2, R3, that mid range, honestly, we're going to be getting new runes and with better substats and moving on forward. So that was my whole kind of side of it. But again, now that I listen to you, I definitely feel for the beginning game players, because that is the majority of the Summoners War base. This game is growing leaps and bounds. And when they put out content, regardless of how cool or amazing it may be, they really have to look at it at all levels there. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
Oh man. So, I think the next topic I want to hit up has to be the underrated and overlooked units. We always like to do this. As you guys know, we have all of our guests come on board, and all of them have their unique kind of units, combinations that they like to use. Underrated and overlooked units. What is your first one that is not... I got the word homunculus for it. I was like, yeah, what is your first one here?
Hey, let's talk about him.
Yeah, we'll talk about this one.
Wind homunculus.
Yeah.
All the homunculuses are great, and the reason why they're cool is because it gives you the opportunity to say, okay, like, what do I need, right? Do I need a monster that's going to be good in TOA hard, right? Like the water one, right? Do I need a good fodder farmer like the water one? Do I need a good single damage single target damage unit for like arena cleave. Am I lacking arena cleave? Go with fire. My favorite and probably one of the most underutilized or possibly underutilized is the wind homunculus spec, where he's a multi-hitter on his first 2 skills, and then he's an armor breaker brander on the 3rd skill, because he can, when used correctly, he can be a huge contributor in Rift 5, for like teaming up with your buddies because of the heal block, the attack speed slow, armor break, and brand. Really consistent heal block, attack speed slow, armor break, and brand. He can be a huge contributor in Dark Rift because you need multi-hits there. He can be a huge contributor in the Wind Rift because he does really consistent damage. And the revive skill, the auto revive skill, is really useful for like Wind and Dark Rift, and even the Water Rift too, because he's a wind-based monster and he does really good damage. And because of the fact that he puts armor break and brand on his 3rd skill, or even if you change the spec of the 2nd skill and get him like armor break on his 2nd skill, and he's a natural 5-star monster and he has really insane base stats, it's really easy to make him be that monster that allows you to get good damage on the boss, but also be able to get the armor break and the brand that you need to increase your damage in the boss's groggy state. Right. If you put violent runes on him, he also comes in really handy in like Guild Wars type scenarios, where if you do that 3rd skill and then you get a violent proc, something's gonna die. Like it's just
game over.
And sometimes they just die even without a violent proc. I messed around with him in some Guild Wars and some streams last week, and it's pretty silly. Like what he's kind of Theo-ish in terms of like what he can do in like a 3v3 setup when used against appropriate opponents. But me personally, I think he's underutilized, the wind one, because I think there's a lot of players out there that might not necessarily need a farmer. They might not necessarily have trouble with clearing TOA hard, but they're lacking his effectiveness for Dark Rift and Wind Rift and Water Rift Beast. And he's really good in Wind, Water Rift Beast, and Dark Rift Beast.
Right, and even one thing that I know that you probably would have mentioned too, I mean, the fact that your particular spec has that multi-hit effect, if people are still trying to play around with that, perfect Necropolis composition, you can probably take advantage of his skill set in there, since he does have that multi-hit action there.
Tons of multi-hit, multi-hit for days.
Yeah. So I'm excited because, I built the fire. I built the fire one, and then I was like, I told everybody on my line chat, I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna build the one that people don't like to do, and then go from that. But of course, as I've kind of progressed, I'm like, dude, some of these runes look really good. I think I might just save the points for that. So, but that is going to be one of my upcoming projects. So, wow, I was trying to think here. We have this next unit that we're going to talk about that just flat out blows me away, because this kind of just goes to show how impressive your mindset is when it comes to really thinking outside the box. Things that could be beneficial not just to your particular setups with regards to Rift of Worlds bosses, but something that really everybody could take advantage of. A lot of people will be listening to this video and be like, oh, it's so much more focused on mid to end game content, when in all reality it's people like you that really look outside the box and think about what combinations that can help the community and such. So what better way to show it than talking about your latest video that you put out featuring the Fire Beast and the newly runed Water Magic line. Tell me a little bit about
it. So Fire Rift is a dungeon that is really easy for a lot of people to do, but it can be tough to get good scores in. And if getting good scores means you get to level up your homunculus faster, and you get to get fight runes faster, right? And Contours put a patch in a while back that totally just changed the way your Fire Rift Beast teams were. He was super easy to put up like S's and double S's and triple S's, and with the patch they released, it totally like obliterated Verd's effectiveness in that Rift. And so I messed around, and Attack Power Leader is really effective in Fire Rift Beast, and I played around with Lapis a little bit, and because she's just attack power of all ally monsters, and she's water, and she's got AoE goodness, really consistent AoE goodness to help clear out the ads, and quite simply put, the ability to just stick whatever runes you got on her, put her in the front or the back line. Right now I got vampire runes on her, and I'm using her in the front line. Mm-hmm. With that attack power to all allied monsters, the fact that she's got AoE, the fact that she's water, it's just cruise control to maybe making that difference between you being able to like change your grade from like B's to A's, or A's to S's, or S's to getting double S's. I've tried out a whole bunch of different combinations, and I think that she's a super easy call out that most mid to high game players can stick in there and incorporate in their Fire Rift Beast team to really improve the scores. Mm-hmm. Primarily because of the really consistent AoEs and the attack power to all monsters, no matter what. Even if you're taking like other fire monsters or something, it's universal attack power, So it's really easy to use her in any sort of team setup that you feel like using for your Fire Rift. And she's water, and glances for days, super effective. Right, crit bonus.
We'll take it all day. I mean, and that's the thing when we're talking about this particular dungeon. Everyone understands that we need to bring a lot of AoE to the mix, and being able to have a unit like this that has two different AoE skills is really going to add a lot of value and allow you to kind of open up your box and try other units that can support your composition and even bring you that much more damage. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, I still have the dark one that we got from the HOH. I don't know if you still have that one with all the skill ups and stuff like that sitting there. So that could be a possibility too down the road.
She's good there too. She's all the Magic Knights are because their auto attack just like kind of taps everything. Right. Yeah. But water is just the easiest call out and the easiest to make useful because she's water, of course, and she's an attack monster. The most effective. The attack power leader. I mean, you really got to go for Fire Rift. Getting over the hump between like just clearing it and collecting low scores and clearing it consistently and putting up really high scores is being able to utilize some sort of like crit rate leader or attack power leader. And I kind of said this in the short stream that I put up recently. It's for Rift of Raids, it's all about racking up damage during. It's all about reaching that compromise between racking up damage during boss groggy state and finding a team that's going to stay alive to actually kill the boss, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So you kind of start out by developing a team that can clear it, and then you start to take out stuff and add in brand and armor break and stuff to improve your groggy damage, and the attack power or crit rate leader skills are definitely the way to do that. Boss groggy damage is sheerly a product of how much damage you do per hit. That's it. Right. Right. It's not your attack speed. Your attack power boosters and stuff don't get you any bonus in groggy, It's just get as much damage as possible in those turns that you get while the boss is groggy, and that's it. And she helps you do that for fire because she's got attack power to all monsters, universal.
Yeah, definitely. So. Really, really good unit. And again, I wanted to point this one out too because, I mean, again, it's a unit that everybody has gotten. So if you're new to the game and have heard a lot of negative talk about this unit, please don't fodder it away. I think that it's been widely mentioned out there that whatever Nat 4 you get, regardless of how crappy it may seem, always save your Nat 4 monsters because you never know what comp tools is going to do. They definitely may, in fact, change it for the better. Next one up here is we got a unit that has been pretty
Oh,
used.
he's so cute.
He's been pretty used in the Rift of Worlds dungeon. You're a big advocate of this. I actually had this one, but I didn't build it because I got it right around the time I got Lisa. So you
He's
got
so
the
awesome.
Hard Ravidi.
That's my homie right there. That
Is
guy,
that your
I
bae?
love. He's my buddy. I love this dude. He's like when for a long time he was broken, and then the Comtos did a couple of patches a little bit ago where they were trying to fix AI on cleanses to like a whole bunch of different monsters, and they released the first version of the patch, and he was still broken. And then for some reason, I guess they must have gone back and like fixed the patch some time ago. Like they fixed his AI, and when they fixed his AI, he's just boss now because he. I use him in the front and a lot in Guild Wars, primarily because he adds attack speed slow, he reduces the attack bar, and that's really good for Rift 5, right?
Right.
Everybody knows that reducing the Rift, the Rift boss's attack bar is a really good way to reduce the amount of damage coming in on your team. He adds attack speed slow. He speeds up attack bar on, he's got that auto first skill that all the Hargs do, which is nifty, good all around. And finally, his buff / cleanse thing is intelligent now. So he's spot on. Like if somebody's about to die, or if your team is all filled up with debuffs, he's going to use his little cleanse that also puts up a shield based on his defense, and that shield absorbs so much damage. Like there's a lot of shields in this game. We all know there's 9,000 different monsters that have shield effects.
Mm-hmm.
If you pump his defense, that shield I don't know how it works. I haven't done the math, but I played with it enough, and I played with other shield monsters enough to know that if you pump his defense and you put up that shield, it has damage absorption for days.
Yeah. And so I was going to say, with regards to this unit and the argument that a lot of people make when it comes to Rift of Worlds, they try to stay away from units that are going to bring beneficial buffs on that. What's your take on this unit? I mean, obviously you don't have a violent asset on it, so it's not going to be casting all too often.
No, see, that's the thing. He uses his buff intelligently, right? So he's not going to use that unless it's absolutely needed. And nowadays, like in Rift 5, most of us use so much heal block that kind of, adding buff to your teams is not, that used to be a factor, before a lot of the high-end players, but not so much anymore. It's really easy to get so much heal block spam going on the Rift boss that buffs aren't too much of a problem. But he's cool because of the fact that the intelligence on him using that third skill is just 100% spot on, and a lot of times that's what makes a monster, right? Like Bella is just the amazing god that he is, because you don't get better AI than Bella.
No.
And Ravidi is more people need to talk about how awesome he is now, because a couple of patches ago, Comtus kind of stealth fixed his AI, and he is like the most intelligent cleanser out there. He's like a Kona. He's super intelligent in the way that he uses that. And I need to play with him more. There's a bunch of other setups you can use him in. Like I even took him in the wind. I can get auto S's for days in Wind Rift, because he even uses his little shield to like when people have the little Wind Rift raid debuff,
right? Like electric shock.
Yeah. I don't. It's just a lot of times. So what makes or breaks a unit for me is the AI on them, and he's awesome because his skill set is great, and they fixed his AI, and even if you're not necessarily wanting to use him in the front line of your Rift team, you could still use him in 9,000 other places, and having a really intelligent cleanser / shield type monster that reduces attack speed slow and tanks up hits is great. I love him.
Yeah.
He's my homie.
I'm excited because I've had one for the longest time, but again, I just didn't see any point in bringing up two cleansers. But after you talked about how good his AI is, that's always something to think about, because Lord knows a lot of the times that I randomly derp in any kind of situation, not just Rift of Worlds or whatever, is some of these AIs of these units here.
Well, his second skill has a 100% effect to reduce like 75% attack bar or something. You know, it's absurd.
Yep.
And that's a huge part of his skill set is there's not a lot of monsters out there that with 100% effect, you know, no RNG, just a resistance check are going to really mash the crap out of the enemy's attack bar. Yeah, so I guess that's another really big call out that makes him like super effective is there's not a lot of wind monsters that do that very good with regularity, and he's one of them.
Yeah, buddy. And so it's funny that when we were talking about the Harg family in general, one of the things that you mentioned was the Dark Harg and how you think that's going to be kind of one of the next big things out there. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, okay, so there's the Wind Rift Beast has given us this strange scenario that we've never had in the game before, where you need lots and lots and lots and lots of heals, right? But if you bring lots and lots of heals, which you can do, you're not going to get damage to put up good scores, right?
Right.
So the only way that I have found so far with my testing, in order to get tons and tons of heals, but at the same time get lots of armor break, brand, huge damage monsters to clear the Wind Rift Beast with regularity, but also put up huge scores to get S's and double S's and stuff, is to utilize the heal over time buff, right?
Right.
And the pandas and this guy are monsters that give you the opportunity to put long-lasting heal over time buffs, and then you can incorporate, like in my case, I like to use Miang in there, somebody that heals and also extends buffs, right? So like you put a heal over time buff that lasts for 2 or 3 turns, and then you use like a Miang type skill that extends the duration of that buff, and then that heal over that 3-turn heal over time turns into a 4-turn heal over time, and it's a long dungeon and it keeps going and those buffs don't stack, and then after, you know, so in order to rack up damage, if you put up a whole lot of heal over time buffs and you extend them, by the time that you're on like wave 3, all your dudes got like 9,000 little heals ticking on them right. consistently, and your damage units can go to town and you don't get wiped out by the little lightning whatever thing he does. And I think maybe Comtuous should hand him out for like arena rewards or give him out as some sort of event gift, because I foresee him maybe, you know, throw him in there with your Fire Panda and he might give you the opportunity to get tons and tons of heals for the Wind Rift Beast, but at the same time be able to bring your damage monsters to rack up the scores in Groggy.
There you go. Comtos, if you're listening, if you need a Halloween event, you better get it popping. This is it right here. Jump on it, get to it, and be about it, as I always say. I like this unit for sure. Let's see. I mean, it's funny. We were talking about changes on the particular units here. You know, with regards to this game, there's been a lot of changes and ones that you've mentioned and been able to take advantage of with regards to your compositions. In the current state of Summoners War today, if there was one thing to change about it, you know, what would that be and why?
The social aspect of Summoners War has yet to be tapped, and we need an ability to be able to both help out our friends, get loot, which is fun, and always get loot, but have more real-time sort of play with our friends. We can set rep monsters. We can chat with buddies. We can do, you know, YouTube and Skype and Line and we can make guilds and we could do guild wars. But this game has yet to tap that potential of, hey, I want to get my friend into the game and I want to go do something with my friend. I actually want to play with him and I want him to be able to benefit from that, right? Like if you're playing some other MMO, you can, you can tell your buddy, hey, go get a copy of Destiny or World of Warcraft, and I will help you out. And you get to go help out your newbie friend, right? You go,
For sure.
and it's fun, right? This game, it wouldn't be too hard for ComToUS to think of a way to like incorporate like if it were me, I would not turn real time arena into one player versus another player. I would turn real time arena into 2 versus 2, and the objective is to help out a lower ranked person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like there's 2 levies against 2 levies. It's a long time investment. It takes a while per turn. Like that's a lot of complaints that people are getting from the real time arena. It's like, oh, you gotta wait but people would be able to endure that wait if it meant I get to lay in bed and play on my phone and play with my girlfriend. Right?
That's
like
it.
me and her, me and her, we would sit there and we would wait 3 seconds for the other guy to move, and we would wait the 2 seconds it takes for the internet lag to show us what his move was. If we got the opportunity to play together,
Right.
you know? So come to us. If find us a way that we can help out other people, or maybe even like our friends, or help out lower ranked people in real time, you know? Or if it's not real time, at least make it be in quick enough time where it's, like give us a team up rift raid where there's fun benefits to be had with collaborative play.
Yeah.
And I really want some way to collaborate where I can help out other players, help out friends, or do something with my friends. That's one thing. There's nothing else that this game needs to change. This game has so much good stuff going for it, but
It does.
But if they want to continue to be like one of the best mobile games out there, critically acclaimed wise, follower wise, income wise, they need to get us an ability to have more social interaction with our friends beyond just like, oh, do you want to raid? Let's be in a guild, use my rep monster or party chat. We need to have the opportunity to do some arena with our buddies in real time, or go farm a dungeon with them in real time, or let them use our monsters and we get to watch them use our monsters or something,
Right. It's pretty crazy, man. I really hope they took advantage of it. I know that I got a couple of community managers that I talked to on the side that really enjoyed the Educate and Dominate series and have mentioned about your videos, your earlier videos along the way. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they think about your ideas, and hopefully they can forward this video to ComToUS. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it, my man. I want to thank you so much for coming on board. I know it's been so long since we've been able to get together, but that's what made this opportunity that much great. It's been so much fun to do this with you, and I know that a lot of people are really going to enjoy this episode. Again, guys, if you're not familiar with Forosnai, Forosnai from the YouTube channel Proc Ready Gaming and Guild community Proc Ready Gaming, make sure to go and check him out. I will have a link up top. It should be popping up right now as far as his channel, so you can go ahead and check it out. I think
we have some fun.
Yes, we have some fun on there. If you've seen his previous videos, he used to be pre-recording the videos at that time. Now he's kind of doing this streaming session, making the videos on the fly, so that you can be a part of them. Check them out and watch them. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else you want to add?
To keep playing Summoner's War, keep having fun there, and keep supporting a super awesome game. And if you're not having fun, find friends. Watch YouTube videos. Mess around with something, because there's just so much fun to be had in this game. And if you're struggling, put a smile on your face and mess around with something, and find some way to have fun. There's so much fun to be had.
Yes,
love this game.
All right. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Educate and Dominate. It's a pleasure to make these videos for you as always. It's your boy Childish and Forosnai with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care, and we'll see you next time, guys. We're out.